Count of three. 1, 2, 3. Come in. Thank you very much, buddy. Alrighty. Move on.
All right, so when we got the idea of doing this, we said, okay, let's do something together, let's do an event together, and we didn't know exactly what to do here. So we, afterwards thinking, we said, okay, what would be fair and nice would be like to share our own failure stories of so many events that we've been running since 2014. So that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna do like short stories of real things that had happened in Startup Grind, in FuckUp Nights, and hopefully we can share some learning, useful learnings with you.
All right, first one real quick. Second event of Startup Grind. The first event went really well, full house. We saw it was the first paid event in Barcelona for a startup event. And we said like, wow, maybe we charge too cheap. Maybe the price is too cheap. Let's charge more than the next event. Second event, we almost doubled the price. No one paid the ticket, right? So maybe don't increase your prices too early.
So then we go to our sixth or seventh event with Mark Ross, working at a PR agency, and I used to do some introductions at the beginning of the events, and I was doing okay. And what happened is that on the middle, okay, I said okay. So in this event, I was on stage, and I blanked out. I couldn't speak, and Alex had to come on stage and rescue me because I looked like a total idiot up here. And after that, I spent like 6 or 7 months without getting on stage until I got that target and practice, and then was able to go back on stage.
And look at him now.
Okay.
All right. Third event, not third event. Third FuckUp is, this was a really, really messy day. Everything that could go wrong in this event went wrong. Fucking torrential rain in Barcelona. I think it was a Monday. Our team couldn't come. It was only Carlos and I. Usually we have like 6, 7 volunteers. The speaker felt unwell that day. And he called that morning. It's like, I don't know if I will come because I'm feeling sick, you know? And so we're like, okay, what do we do with the event? Well, let's go for it anyways, and we'll figure it out. Our regular venue had been occupied by squatters, and so we had to move to another venue, losing a lot of money in the process because we had to pay for more stuff that our regular venue usually covers. We ordered beers, they were sent to the wrong address, so I had to rush with my dad and his car to go load like 120 beers or something like that. Looked like we were doing something very illegal. What else? Yeah, so basically people arrived very late, so it looked like really empty. And while we were setting up the stage, you know, there was one more thing that could go wrong. The fucking roll-up broke. You can see there that it's kind of like standing like against something. It's because it broke. And I was like, okay, this event's gonna be so shit. Last minute, the speaker turned up. We had a great event, but you know, we felt so depressed that at that time, I decided that I was about to quit Startup Grind. Luckily enough, that didn't happen. But you know, there's a lot of things that we can learn from that event is that sometimes things are out of control. You cannot do anything about it.
Yeah, and if you check at the picture, you see that the roll-up is actually on its back, so that it's
against the
holding
wall.
up.
It's just
Yes.
against the wall. Like.
It's terrible. So another story. That doesn't go to an event. We used to have a supplier for our videos. We were happy with them. They were doing a great job. And they sent videos every 2, 3 months normally. And at some point, they owed us 5 or 6 videos.
Or 7 or 8.
Or 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And what happened that we ended up without no videos of those events because the hard drive where they kept it broke down. So it was really painful because we lost a lot of good materials, and we learned that no dejes para mañana, no? Like, don't let it go, just like have a fixed deadline so that you mitigate this kind of risks.
That's also yours, man.
Yes, that's a
That's a
painful
big one. That's a big one.
Actually, so in 2017, we decided to put together a big conference to celebrate the connection with the direct flight of Barcelona to San Francisco. We had a great lineup of speakers, and we were one of them. Like, they contacted us and told us, okay, the assistant told us that person cannot make it to the event, but this other person from the same company can join, can be a replacement. And we got the email, and I replied to Alex, and I said, no, I don't think that's a good idea, because no one knows that person.
No
So
one will
we
pay
should
for that,
pass.
for that speaker.
Yes, all good, until 5 minutes later, I realized that I had clicked reply all. So it was really painful. Over there, like, I was the only lucky thing was that I wasn't unpolite. I wasn't like trashing that person, so I wasn't disrespectful. So that's my learning. Never, never, never try type something bad about anyone. You never know when you click the
Not an
wrong
email.
button.
Do it on fucking WhatsApp. That's what WhatsApp's for. All right, this is a big one, ladies and gentlemen. In that conference, there's opening night, VIP people only, 300 VIP people from Barcelona, like the directors of like banks, people from government, the speakers, the CEO of Startup Ryan and whatnot. And I don't know what happened, but one of the laptop that we were supposed to use for the slides that we've got in the background, was used for the check-in because we had too many people. So they asked me, can we use your laptop instead? And I said, like, no, that's not a good idea. Not 5 minutes before a big event, you know. These things never go well. Well, basically, what happened is that somebody unplugged the laptop, accidentally, probably just, you know, kind of like walked against the cable. And so battery saver went on. And no, the laptop didn't run out of battery. Worse than that, the screensaver went on. And my screensaver read, fuck off. 300 people were blasted fuck off, like really important people from Barcelona. And lesson learned, my laptop is fucking mine.
And doing some QA testing beforehand, it's also useful, besides if the laptop is his.
Or don't use screensavers in 2022, people.
You go with the
I'll go
startup
for this
program.
one as well. This one is also mine. It also includes fucking up over email. In that very conference, we had so much stuff to do. We overloaded the conference with content. And one of the things that we wanted to do is people, like startups, to be able to showcase these startups for a testimonial amount of money, right? So you pay to have an exposition in the event, like something, I don't know, I don't even remember the quantities, right? But it was affordable for startups. Turns out that I drafted the fucking email with the conditions and all of that. We cherry-picked the startups, we validated them, and all of a sudden I sent the freaking email without including the price.
But
So-
not only the price, like not mentioning that it was a paid opportunity.
Yeah, but yeah.
That was the
Yeah,
main
yeah.
issue.
Basically, we forgot to include that part. I forgot to include the part, like the email was kind of like cut, and I was like, all right. So it's not like we lost money, but we counted on that money to pay for catering and stuff, you know? So kind of like, you know, maybe not only review your emails, but have somebody else double check them.
So let's go with FuckUp Nights FuckUp, which was like this event in December 2018, which oddly enough, on the previous event, the month before, like I already had 2 speakers secured, already confirmed, and 2 candidates for the 3rd speaker. So the event was published, ticketing was going good, so everything seemed smooth. In the end, what happened then, one of the speakers like let me know a couple of days before that he wasn't able to come for an unexpected trip, and so I had to find another backup for that one. Then the other speaker on the day of the event told me that he was sick and he couldn't make it to the event. So I still managed to find a replacement. And also, in between, during the day, 2 or 3 days before the event, the platform that we were using for the registration did a product revamp, change. So all the links to the event were changed and were totally different. So it was another example of shit happens. Sometimes it's out of your control, and no matter if you do whatever, but things just go south. And it's fine, you just need to deal with it and do as best as you can. And this is a tiny one, but this is very related to how I work. So generally I'm more behind the scenes person, and I'm very I only have one neuron. When I'm doing one thing, I'm not able to focus on more things. So what happens is at this event that we had a few months ago, last May, we had a great lineup of speakers, and it was right after the pandemic, very exciting. And we were doing a hybrid event, and it was an opportunity to record some of the content because we were live streaming it. And what happened, 30 minutes before, I tested everything, and I said, okay, afterwards, I'll click record to get the video. Of course, the event started, went on, and I never clicked the record button. So that reminds me always is if you think of something like this and you're busy, do it right away and don't wait and say, I'll do it later on.
But I was there. It was really good. The content was good. It's a pity that you cannot check it. But
yeah, because generally we don't record the talks at FuckUp nights so that they are even more honest.
Okay, so basically, kind of to wrap this part up. I think there's quick 2 ones from me. This one is, this is a blank slides template, right? Every year for our conference, we have hosted 3 editions of our annual conference for 1,000 people. We prepare all the slides with the backgrounds and the speakers like we have today. Except that in the 3rd year, we forgot about it. And so we arrived to the venue, it's okay, can we just play the slides? And I'm what slides? Didn't you do that? I was no, I thought you were doing them. So we had to improvise some slides for the first talk. And during the first talk, we produced the rest of the slides. So, I think there was some misjudgment there of who was doing what kind of task in the conference, but it was really fucking stressful. And the last one, I think it's the last one. Yeah. This one is kind of generic. I think that we can all learn from that. But basically, that sometimes they tell you to separate friends and family from business. For me, it's almost always worked well to work with friends or family. My 2 co-founders in my company, they're my best friends. Super well. But in other times, didn't work that well because a couple of times in particular, we really wanted to work with that person. The other person wanted to work with us. And we said, we both want it. We'll figure it out. But we didn't quite figure it out before it actually happened, before an event, before the conference. And things went south. Because if you don't really set all the things in paper, even if you're really, really good friends, that friendship is at risk. So I really advise you to talk things through, take your time, set things on paper, and if it doesn't work out, don't really push it, because that's going to be worse. Yep, and I think that's pretty much about it.
Yes, that's pretty much about it. Thank you. So let's get with our speakers, and let me introduce our first speaker today, who is Ivan Garcia. Ivan holds a bachelor degree in law by UPF, and after that he started working as a consultant in Everest until he got bored of just building decks and decided to build his own product. And he built Gravy, a last-minute marketplace for busy professionals. And currently, he's the founder of Reboot Studio, where he helps others to build market-leading products. Besides creating products and designing products. He also likes eating some of them. And most likely you can run into him like trying burgers at the new places around Barcelona. So please greet our next speaker with a huge round of applause. Ivan, please join us.
Trying? Yeah. Okay. So let's start again. Hi everyone. I'm Ivan. I'm a weird product designer that studied law at university and obviously didn't like it. But also when I was 14, I discovered, the magic of internet, online projects, digital products. So when I finished my degree, I decided not becoming a lawyer and follow my curiosity on technology in the worst way possible, which is joining Everest. So I met my partner Tony there, and after a year, we got bored of building decks, so we quit to build something real instead. And what did we build? During our year at consultancy, we had this everyday frustration of losing uncountable hours waiting in lines for lunch, right? Because everyone else have lunch at the same time as you. So we decided to build an app that with the press of a button, you can have your meal ready at any nearby restaurant when you get there. So you can skip the line and save a lot of time. And we call it Cravy. Were we the only ones doing this? Of course not. We were inspired by some US startups that they were crashing it in this space, and we wanted to crashing it as well. So we knew nothing about how to start a business. So we applied and got accepted in one of the incubation programs of Barcelona Activa. And where to start, what is everything to do, right? We decided building the product. So we spent 6 months on the basement building the product, figuring out every single detail that other teams with more than 100 engineers and millions of dollars on investment had done, like real-time payments, a beautiful app for the user, a not so beautiful app for the restaurant, and we did it. So we wanted to create the best product in its category, and after 6 months, we were ready. But before we launched it, we needed to sell it, right? And when you're building a marketplace of this kind, you need to do it the hard way, which is cold selling. So we needed to knock doors on every single restaurant in Pueblo Nou, in our area, trying to sell in Cravy. But the thing was, we were 2 product guys, and we hated selling. So what happens when 2 product guys are forced to sell? We always find a better thing to do. So we did crazy things like this. We built a chat inside Cravy that let users pay for food and send it to each other, like WhatsApp. And yeah, we were supposed to be on the street selling the product, but how cool is this? Another problem with sales was that restaurants need a tablet to receive orders. But they didn't want to pay for them. So we decided to pay tablets ourselves and give it to the restaurants for free. And how can you do that when you're a scrappy, bootstrap startup? We bought the shittiest tablets on the planet, less than 50 euros on Amazon. But hey, they worked. So despite all of this, we did it. We hated selling, but we had to. So we managed to close almost 15 restaurants in Pueblo Nou, and we were finally ready to launch. And when you launch, what happened is nothing, right? The first day, nothing. The second day, nothing. But the week after, we saw a name in our dashboard that we didn't know. It was Jordi Garcia. And we asked ourselves, you know him? Maybe it's your friend, your cousin, I don't know. And no. So, fuck, it was our first real customer. And this is a wonderful moment that you will always remember, right? So the next weeks, early restaurants and users start referring new users to Gravy, and we start growing slowly, right? After a few months operating, we had dozens of customers every week ordering through Gravy, ordering each meal through Gravy, and some of them were repeating more than 3 times a week. So definitely it seems that we had built something valuable for a group of people. And I think we were not buying them. And this is important because we had no money, so we couldn't afford to offer, free money or coupons. So we were growing, but we needed to figure out 3 problems that were killing us. And by this time, we were still 2 of us. So the first problem is margins. This business is hard. This is what it looks like after a full month of months, more than 100 of orders. Yeah, it's 47 euros profit, right? So after at the end of every month, me and Tony can go out and have a dinner maybe in a not so fancy restaurant. So yeah, this definitely was a problem. Another problem was acquiring users. Acquiring users is so hard, especially when you have no money, right? So we tried everything a scrappy startup could afford. For example, we give away thousands of flyers in Pueblo No with a free coffee, and we thought it was an incredible idea. The problem was that a free coffee doesn't seem enough when Uber Eats is giving you 40 euros right away, right? So it didn't work as well. And the third problem was operations. I don't know if you have managed a business like this, being just 2 guys, but it's a nightmare. We upload every day the daily menus of our restaurants, and most of them were just too busy. So instead of sending us the menu, they're sending us the photo of the food. So we needed to figure out, like, what is this dish? So how do we name it? That kind of thing. Some of our times, tablets were disconnected, so we needed to pass the order by phone. And most of the times, they didn't answer the phone. So we ran it to the restaurant so we can tell it. So yeah, it definitely seems that we needed more resources. And here is where external funding comes, right? So while we are exploring how to raise money, we had the opportunity to meet the CEO of our main competitor in Spain. They were from Barcelona. They had raised more than 2 million euros. And they had the same problem as us, but at the scale, right? So obviously, when you talk with a competitor, you need to be a little bit skeptical, but I could see truth in its words, and I remember a phrase. He said, I wanted to build a unicorn in this space, and I already know this is not going to happen, but I need to keep accountable with my investors. So you guys have still a choice. Think twice if you want to go all in on this market. So we realized we had built a product, a great product, for a market we didn't want to be in. So potentially we could have raised, a small seed round, but then what, right? So burning money, living from round to round, this is not for us. So we learned the importance of having founder market fit before having product market fit. We were 2 product guys. We fall in love with a solution. We created what we believe it's the best product in its category, but we didn't want to become a 100-people company burning thousands of euros every week and living as long as you have busy money in your bank. So yeah, this is not who we are. Instead, we value, being a small team of high creative and great individuals with impact, with ownership, and this is who we are. But I guess we needed to learn the hard way the importance of having founder market fit. And this is basically our fuck off. So I hope my story can help some of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Alrighty, there's going to be questions at the end. So, wow, this is really loud. In order to kind of like save time, because we're a little bit behind schedule. So what we will do is we'll accumulate the questions, and at the end of the fireside chat and the other presentation, we'll bring all the 3 speakers, and they will take Q&A. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this. This is the first part of the what you will usually see in FuckUp Nights. Basically, in Startbright Barcelona, what we do, we have the next slide. I think Carlos has got the, yep, thank you. At Startbright Barcelona, the core, the central value, the boring part before the beers is usually we have a fireside chat with a famous investor or entrepreneur, and we don't pay them. First off, because Startbright is a volunteering event, as is FuckUp Nights Barcelona, so everybody is paying us with their time. But more especially, the speakers, and I want to see where's Avi, because I don't see him. Okay, it's Avi over there. Yeah, just wait, just wait, I'll call you. He's impatient. All right. You want to come on stage? Okay. Yeah, not yet. So basically, we don't pay our speakers. They pay us with their time, because the time of CEOs and founders and companies as large as TravelPerk, for instance, is really, really precious, and it's really, really expensive. So at the count of 3, I want everybody to stand up on your feet and give him the biggest rock star applause. Prepare, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's give it up for Avi Meir. Where's the music? Yeah, you need a mic. Here. Think this works? Nope. Yeah, this works. Avi, here. There you go.
So
all right, my man.
I'm never coming back.
Never coming back?
No, it's so embarrassing. Come on.
That was a pretty good welcome. How many times have you been welcomed on stage as a rock star?
I'm a big Metallica fan. I know we
You're my
share
best
that passion.
friend. You're my best friend now.
And I was invited to a Metallica stage once.
Can you share that story? I'm more interested in this than your fuck-ups.
I just made it up, so I need to come up with a lie. No, I just wanted to mention that so you can feel impressed.
All right, so this is the first time we actually meet in person. If you don't know Avi or TravelPerk, just get out of here. Like, you haven't done your homework, clearly. TravelPerk is one of the hottest startups in Barcelona, raising hundreds of millions in venture capital, solving travel and accommodation for B2B, so basically for businesses. And we have learned from 2 of their founders, namely one of them, and then Javi Suarez in 2018 in Startbrand. So go check the videos, because we're not going to talk about the founding of the company, but we're going to talk about other things like, company culture, learning from FuckUps and whatnot. So my first question being okay, let's get straight to the point. What's your most expensive fuck-up you've ever done?
So I was actually thinking about, just to check, none of my investors is here, right? Good, okay. I was actually thinking, so I have one, a big fuck up for you, but I was thinking, what is the funniest fuck up, that at least for me, the funniest? So if you don't mind, I'll tell you both.
You can tell me both, yeah?
You have nothing to do tonight, right? It will take a while, so.
Yeah.
so the funniest one, which is also shorter, I find it funnier. I went to business school here in Barcelona, a place called Yese, great business school. The thing is, most people who finish business school, they go to be a consultant or a banker or something like that. So many of my classmates went to become bankers, and to be honest, I never really understood what bankers do, what's the difference between the different banks. It's all kind of blurry to me. But my ex classmates, are chasing me because they want our business. And one of my classmates joined JP Morgan. Have you heard about JP Morgan? It's a pretty famous bank, yeah. And I never understood JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, whatever.
All the same company.
All the same, basically the same
people.
company.
Yeah.
So anyway, he joined JP Morgan, and he asked if he can come with his boss. And he actually came with his boss's boss to our office in Villa Augusta. It's a really important, apparently, banker, and they all wear suits and ties and shoes and stuff. And
No barefoot meeting.
Yeah,
you mean?
and I decide
Some people.
to mess up with them and to pretend that instead of knowing that they are from JP Morgan, I actually think they are from Morgan Stanley. So I'm going to fuck up with them the whole meeting and embarrass my friend, because otherwise, how can you survive a meeting with a banker, right? So you have to put some fun there. By the way, if you have any bankers here, I'm only joking.
Only the
Yeah,
good
it's only a
bankers
joke.
are here. Yeah.
So anyway, they show up in the office, and it's like my friend and his boss and his boss's 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 boss, and you know, they all wear suits, and we talk, and I keep injecting this joke about how they are from Morgan Stanley. I know they are from JP Morgan, but I go like, yeah, Morgan Stanley is such a great bank, you know, like, and they all like laugh, you know, and like, we're having a good time, and I figured, you know, they understood the joke. And before they leave, but they said nothing the whole time. So before they leave, I say, guys, I want to tell you, I know you are from JP Morgan. It was a joke. And they're like, no, we are from Morgan Stanley. So the joke was on me.
Wow. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's
The most expensive then?
that's not, yeah, I don't know if it was the most expensive, but at least I find it
Okay,
funny.
that could have been pretty expensive if you left some money on the table because of that.
I also don't know what you can learn from this one, so yeah, anyway, I just want to share it. I never shared the
I mean,
story.
don't
so.
joke with bankers.
Yeah, I cannot
They don't
tweet it.
have a soul.
No, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. Some of my best friends are bankers.
All right.
It's a lie. The most expensive fuck up is how we didn't build the right product. I think it's kind of the oldest fuck up in the book. Javi and I, you met Javi, so Javi and Ron, actually, we're three co-founders. We started TrialPerk in 2015. The three of us worked at Booking.com prior to that. And the three of us left Booking.com basically because we saw this huge opportunity in business travel. We felt that business travel should be as pleasant, at least the booking experience, as leisure travel. I cannot make necessarily your conference as pleasant as your holiday in the Bahamas, but maybe I can make the booking experience for you and for your CFO a bit less painful. So we started working on it, and we actually saw this company in the US that was doing something pretty cool, a company called Rocket Trip, and they did a pretty cool product. They would give you a budget for your trip, so for your business trip. And let's say you had to go from Barcelona to New York, and they would say, given your travel policy, we know you can fly maybe premium economy and stay in a 4-star hotel close to the office of the client. So we would know your travel policy, and you told the system, Barcelona to New York on these dates, and would give you a real-time budget. So we'd tell you, according to your company's travel policy, you can spend up to $1,000 or 1,000 euros for your trip. And then you go and book anywhere you want. We don't actually handle the booking process, the travel agency side. And you send us a confirmation email, and if you prove that you managed to save money for your company, we will give you Amazon gift cards. So basically, your company would share the savings with you, let's say 50-50. So that was this American company that was doing it, and we thought maybe we can bring it to, we can get inspired by them, let's call it like this. We'll get inspired by them and do the same thing in Europe. So we raised money, we invested our own money, which I personally didn't have, so I don't come from a rich family, so I took my savings, our savings. I was already married at the time, and I had my oldest son at the time was 6 months old. So, and my wife is a teacher, so it's not like she's adding to the society way more than me. But in terms of compensation, it doesn't really match, one-to-one. Let's say it like this. So I took money that I didn't have. We all did, and we raised also money from investors to do basically the rocket trip of Europe, the cost-saving product. We built it. I'm a developer, and the other guys one guy was a product guy, Javi is a product guy, and then Ron was our CEO, a salesperson. And then we hired developers, and we spent probably, it was a big pre-seed round for Barcelona, so probably we spent, I don't know, €1 million between our money and investor money building that product. By the way, we're not that stupid. We went to 20 CFOs, who are the target audience, and we said, hey, Mr. or Mrs. CFO, would you use this product to save 20% of your travel budget? Obviously, yes. I mean, all CFOs, you offer them to save money. The question is, where's the catch? Right? So you show them that there is no catch. Here's how we do it. Of course, they would say yes. So I remember a meeting with Tony Rami from Cantox, one of the founders of Cantox, and pitching to him this idea, and he said, of course we'll use it. So anyway, the users said we'll build it. We're not stupid, of course. We checked with the users. And then we went and invested €1 million, our time and energy to build this product. It's a pretty complex product, actually. And it took us like 8 months to have a good MVP that we were happy with. And after spending 8 months and all of this money, we go to Cantox. I go to Tony. And I said, Tony, good news, the product is ready. And he's like, remind me what product we're talking about? And I told him, hey, the cost-saving thing. Oh, yeah, you're right, the cost-saving. Great, okay, sure, you want to use it. You have to speak with Johanna. And I should have maybe changed the names. These are actually real people.
Yeah, you're naming and shaming right now. I was going to say, but
yeah.
they're great people.
Yeah, we're the idiots in the story, not Tony and Johanna. They're the best people.
We're not streaming, at least.
No, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not streaming? Okay, good. Somebody knows Tony or Johanna? From
I
Cantox?
know them, but I'm not going to tell them.
Good, good. I actually told the story a few times in the past. So anyway, he says, of course, we'll use you. You have to go speak with Johanna. And I'm like, who's Johanna? Johanna is our office manager. I'm like, okay, why would I speak with the office manager? You're the founder. He's like, yeah, of course. I made a decision. We're going to use you, but Johanna is in charge of travel for our company, and she needs to know how to use your system. So just go and train her on how to use your system. Okay, I can train her. So we show up in this nice building. Cantox is in Torre Mapfre, I think it's called, right? By the beach. Very nice view. We go there. We show up like so proud of ourselves. The startup people are here, to save your life. And of course, she forgot about the meeting. Anyway, so we end up waiting for the meeting, and then we like we actually tell her, okay, so Tony told me to meet with you so you can learn how to use TrialPerk. And she's like, what's TrialPerk? So, well, here's the thing, cost saving for travel. And she's like, she looks at us like puzzled. Tony told you to come here? Like, yeah, Tony said we should tell you how to use it. She's like, Tony doesn't understand anything about my life. So let me tell you, what exactly pain point are you solving? She actually said like this, what pain point are you solving for me? And I said, well, cost saving. She's like, cost is not my problem, it's the problem of Tony. Okay, what's your problem? My problem is I need an invoice. So show me your invoice because, it's so painful. I book trips on Booking.com, on the hotel, on the airline, and then I have to chase people for invoices and they forget to ask for the invoice. So can you show me your invoice? I want to see that you have the VAT correctly. And I'm like, okay, let me explain to you again. You probably didn't understand it. The beauty of TrialPerk is that we don't actually sell you travel. And she's like, what? That's what? Like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, that's the beauty. You can book anywhere you want. We'll just help you save money. She's like, you don't get it. And like, no, okay, fine, I understand. Thank you for your time. And then we leave. And I told Javi, I remember I told him, this lady doesn't get it. So of course we just decided not to sell to this client who didn't get it. Let's focus on clients who do get it. 19 meetings later, we realized that 20 out of 20 didn't get it. And then we're like, do you know this joke about the guy who drives in the highway and then his wife calls him and she's like, be careful, there is a crazy guy driving against traffic. It's like, only one, everybody's crazy here. So when everybody is telling you that they don't get it, maybe you didn't get it. What we realized is that we have built the wrong product for the wrong persona. So of course CFOs want to save money, but if the booking doesn't happen on a platform that solves the pain point of, in this case, another persona, the office manager, we call it admin now internally, then nobody will use the system, so you cannot actually generate the savings. The same way that we realized, I know it's crazy, but we realized if the travelers don't like what you've built, they will also not use it, so the CFOs will not get the benefit. So we've built the wrong product. We decided, we had two options, and then I'll stop talking because I realized I talked way too long.
I mean, they paid to see you, not me, so.
It was a paying, we need to talk about like a revenue share after that. I didn't realize it was. We realized that we have three personas, not one, and we need to build for all three. And maybe you could have said, well, that's obvious, but when people tell you, yeah, of course I'll use your product, then you just, the reflex of a founder is to go and build, especially if you're a tech person, you don't really want to talk to people like me, or you just want to sit with your headphones and two screens and code. So somebody telling you, yeah, of course, then it's good enough, like, fine, I'll go and code for 8 months, and then you realize that you coded, you had fun, but you didn't build the right product. So listening to customers, but what I tell people, either as advisor or as investor, these days is people tell me, so somebody might pitch as an angel investment, and I say, okay, do you know you actually have customers for that? Do you know you're solving a real pain point? And if they tell me what I said, yeah, of course, they promise they will use it, I tell them, listen, yes is the easiest answer, right? Yes is the easiest answer because it takes some, I don't know, courage, but effort to say no to somebody. It's not pleasant, you know? If you came to me after this and pitched your startup and I thought it was a shitty idea, it's tough for me to say, hey, no, sorry, it's a shitty idea, I don't want to do it. It's easier to say, yeah, sure, great, sounds amazing. You know, like the American thing, right, yeah, great. And then you kind of walk away. And of course, you think to yourself, it's a shitty idea, I'm never talking to this person again. So yes is the easiest answer to give. It's very difficult to get to a no. Go and look for this no, and go look for the real person who would give you either their time or money, right? One of the two, ideally both. And this is the real, you have to give you some currency, right? So this is the real test, not somebody who tells you yes. By the way, Tony and I are really good friends. They're still customers of Trauperk, and we really like each other. So he knows to tell the story, and he's very fun.
How long did it take for them to buy your product?
So what we did is we completely scrapped, so we deleted the code base. We had two options, really. It's very painful, but the two options was like build up on what we have already had and kind of find a way, like pivot away a little bit, or just literally delete the Git and start from scratch. So we deleted the Git. We kept some of the front-end stuff, but basically we just deleted everything. I know you're a developer, so I can feel your feeling of the pain. We deleted 8 months of, like, it was a work of beauty that nobody wanted to use. So we deleted the code base, started from scratch. It took us 4 or 5 months to get to MVP. I don't know if I can call it MVP because we had nothing in the backend, and this is another maybe another fuck-up story you can get to later if you want. But it was like a nice facade, nothing in the back. It took us like 4 or 5 months, and then we went back to them, and they started using it immediately.
We'll talk about this in a little bit later, but basically circling back to what you were sharing, validating your idea with real market customers it's really fucking hard because as Avi shared, like everybody will tell you yes, but nobody will be willing to chip in some money right away, right? I remember there's a story by the Stripe co-founders. They shared that startup grant a few years ago. And they said like, no, they would go to talk to customers. Hey, do you like this idea? Yes. Would you pay $45 right now to install it? And they would be like, no, you pay now and we're installing it right now. So that would be like another idea to validate because me too, as a founder or like a salesperson, and even as an investor, I see a lot of people pitching me for like things they have like, we talked to 100 customers and we got this. And like, okay, take out your friends, your family, past customers, and people you already knew. And like, if you scrape all of them, how many are left? And they're like, maybe 2 or 3. So, you know, friends, family, and
they go to
count.
2 and 3 and ask them for currency.
Yeah.
Ask for time, like using the product, right, which is a currency, ideally, and money, right? Ask for a currency, and you might realize that the 2 or 3 that are not your friends or family don't want to give you even like, $45 for Stripe, then maybe you are not solving the right pain points.
Exactly.
And it's not them who don't understand, it's you, right? So that's.
I mean, no pain, no gain, right? So if you don't really, if it's for free, like they're just spending some of their time with you, it's kind of like for free, like, yeah, they will say yes. If they have to pay to use it or to have the demo or something like that, they have to be really interested into that.
I say time because I refer also to B2C. Like, so if you're building like a social media website, time engagement is what, is the currency that people give to you at the beginning at least. But if you're building B2B, like we do at Trauperk, money. Like people need to pay for what you have built. If they don't pay for it, like, and sometimes you hear and we founders tell ourselves all the excuses that we can because admitting that we have built a shitty product is tough for our ego. So we would say they would pay, but it's a long sales cycle. Okay, fine. Or they would pay, but the budget will come next year. They want to use it this year for free, and next year they will pay. Or any excuse. If you don't have real euros or dollars or whatever currency, Bitcoin, in your wallet, you haven't built a real product that is solving a real pain point. I know it's rough to hear, and it was rough for me to hear. That's why it took us like a year and a half to realize it, but it's true. So what can I do?
Like you're a developer, so you will relate to this. Basically, another part of the validation of the customer market is building the right MVP. Like I run a software development company, and I get projects sometimes where people want to build an MVP to test an idea. And sometimes that MVP is not a fucking MVP. It's like LinkedIn almost. Like it's got 10,000 features. It's not rough around the edges. It's got like great UX. At that point, you're spending too much money on that and not really on talking to customers. So you've got a great story about that because I remember that Javi, maybe set you up with that. And he shared already that story in 2018, but we can go through details because you're a technical person. So once you were building this other version, you said that you built something of a facade, and you would let people know that this was automated somehow when the visitors came to the website, but behind that, nothing was really built, right? Can you go a little bit into detail?
Yeah, sure. So we use the lean startup methodology. So the point was, we recognize we're in experimentation mode, especially after the first pivot. So we're like, okay, let's not build something that is not for sure what we need to build for the right person, for the right pain point. So let's build the minimum MVP, right? So the minimum amount of product possible to test the hypothesis. And in this case, we just wanted to see if the Johanna of the world, if the admin, the office manager, would actually end up using a centralized booking platform for business travel. We're talking about SMBs, small and medium-sized companies that we target. And these kind of companies historically don't have any tool in place. So if you think about American Express or one of the kind of these big legacy travel agencies, they are mostly used in the huge enterprises, the Fortune 500. But if you look at, RDN or Farfetch or Get Your Guide or Oliva, Javi's new startup, all of these kind of medium and small, medium-sized companies, not just startups, traditionally don't have any tool in place. So that was the assumption that we were testing. Will Johanna, the office manager from Cantox, not tell us to fuck off again and accept to use our product? We went to see her once. She said said, I'm not interested. Can we go back again and get her to use something? Okay, that's the assumption. That's the hypothesis. How can we test it in a business travel platform? We said, let's make pretend. Let's fake it as if we can sell you flights, as if we can sell you a hotel night. You'll feel like you're doing it, but behind the scenes, nothing is happening. Why? Because in travel, it's tough. Actually, selling flights, I don't know if it might not sound difficult, but believe me, I've been in travel for 16 years. I know I look like I'm 20, but I'm actually 40. So I've been, no. Yes, I know I look younger than I am. No need to compliment.
It's the hoodie.
Yeah, it's the hoodie. Yeah. And I dye my hair gray just to look a bit older. So anyway, where was I? It's tough. I've been in travel, like also with my age, you start to be forgetful. So I've been in travel long enough. Let me tell you, selling flights, hotels, car rental, and rail, which we do in TravelPerk, making the results return fast. And fast, by the way, in our world, Amazon is measuring by like the millisecond. You have some APIs that return the first result if you search for a flight. The first result in 2 minutes. Would a user wait 2 minutes? I mean, would a user wait 20 seconds? Obviously not.
Depends on how painful it is.
Yeah. So this is the kind of the world we need to build in a nerdy way, and the non-engineers will forgive me. We have to build TCP over UDP, right? You have to build a reliable system that feels fast, that feels reliable on top of a really shitty, unreliable background. So we didn't want to get into the mess of actually getting flight content bookable. You have to get a IATA license. It's like getting a banking license. Anyway, we didn't want to get through that. We just wanted to build something that feels like you can search for a flight in a hotel. You can feel like you can book it with us, and you can feel like it's confirmed. And that's what we did. So we we connected to Skyscanner, which is the easiest API for flights. Skyscanner doesn't sell you flights. So if you think about when you use Skyscanner or Kayak, it's the same. It's a meta search, right? So you search for a flight, or Google Flights is the same. You search for a flight, Barcelona to Paris in these dates. It gives you options. And then you see a good option on eDreams. So you click on eDreams, it opens a new tab, and you buy the flight from eDreams. You don't buy it from Skyscanner. Okay, so Skyscanner is very easy because it's just a search without the complicated stuff, which is the actual booking. So we went to Skyscanner, we did an API integration, we went to Booking.com, we did hotel search integration, and then what would happen as a user is you search for a hotel, you think you're adding it to a basket, you search for a flight, you think you're adding it to a basket, you click book, you think you booked it, and what happened, and then you click book, you pay for, you pay, you can do a Stripe integration super easily, so we actually charge you, that wasn't fake, we charge you. And then in the background, I get, PagerDuty, it's like this app mostly for developers, so you can set up, basically we use it as a pager, so you book a fake flight and a fake hotel with us, I get a phone call to my phone, and it rings, and it's like a pre-recorded message. There was one booking on the system, and then I would have to go to my email, and I got an email from the system that basically describes in text what you booked. So it's like, okay, Alex want to go from Barcelona to Paris on this date. He thinks he's going to pay 120 euros for it because prices fluctuate very fast on flights. He thinks he's going to stay in this hotel and pay that. Availability goes out very fast and we might run out. Please go and book it for him. And I would go, literally, I would go on Expedia or Adrian's, wherever I could find it cheaper, book it for you, put it in a email template on Gmail, because I was ashamed to tell you that I booked it for you manually. So I pretended that as if it came from a machine. I even made it look like a machine email, like a bit
High
cold.
percentage name, things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, exactly. So we faked the confirmation email, and we send you the confirmation email after we manually booked the trip for you. Now, you can imagine some funny things. Like, for example, we had a customer in Singapore. Through a friend of a friend, we got to a customer in Singapore. Singapore is 8 hours ahead of Barcelona. And they had a really annoying habit of booking all of their trips in the early morning their time, which means like 2, 3 a.m. for us. So for months on end, by the way, I'm talking about like a 4 or 5 month thing. It's not like it took a while until we actually built it. A month on end, we had like, Javi and I were kind of switching shifts, night shifts. So we had no employees to give it to. So it was either him or I. So every second night, I would wake up with a phone call at like 2 in the morning, and I wake up my the kids, wake up my wife, and she's like, oh, what's going on? It's like, I have to go and book a flight, and I go and book a flight, and I would make mistakes, like spelling mistakes in your name, because everything was manual. Like, so imagine like if you have a complicated name,
Sleep deprivation as well. Kicking in.
You choose the wrong gender, and then people you cannot fly. Even if it's like Mr. instead of Mrs., you cannot fly. So, and airlines don't allow you to change it. You have to cancel the ticket and book it. Anyway, it's a fucking mess. So make a mistake like this. Another interesting thing that happens is you run out of availability. So imagine
the price difference as
or
well.
price difference. Price difference we just took, so we paid
okay,
out of
you
pocket.
just like,
So
yeah.
we said it's an experiment, we'll pay for it. So sometimes we lost thousands of euros on a ticket. Imagine like a first class ticket, which is already expensive, and its price doubles from 7,000 to 14,000. We pay out of pocket. It was horrible. But what happens if you ran out of space? And I couldn't. So I remember, and that's the last fuck up, and then I'll let you ask your questions.
Because Carlos is giving me only 5 minutes.
Okay. So last within this fuck up, one of them, and then I have many, but one of the last ones within this is I made a mistake booking. I made just the wrong name mistake for business class tickets from Dubai to Paris, and the guy reaches out and complains, and it was my fuck up. So I tried to cancel, but when I canceled, it was non-refundable, and then the last seat was taken. So I had to book a first class. So it was first class. Anyway, like I couldn't put him on a flight. I forget the details. And then I reached out to the guy, and I tried to kind of squeeze out of it. And I tried to be I'm Israeli, so I tried to be Israeli about it, and say, man, I saw you flying sometimes first class, sometimes business class. Maybe this time you can fly economy, just like this. And the guy was like,
It's going to be fun.
do you think it's legal for you to look at my trips? And I was like, oh, shit, probably it's not legal for me to look at his trips. It was before GDPR, so now I know it's not legal. But anyway, a lot of fuck-ups.
No, actually, so we got 5 minutes, but we can do like quick fire round of I'm going to ask a question, and you in a sentence, you will share a little bit like a shorter answer for all of them. So let's try. Basically, you
I don't do
created a
shorts.
company before. Was that?
I don't do short.
You don't do short, yeah, I know. Let's try.
try.
Basically, one fuck up that you have repeated from your previous company, and you did it again in TravelPerk.
Well, it's a tough one. Wrong people. That's the one fuck up you cannot avoid. Hiring the wrong people.
Okay, that was short. Okay, I was going to go into legal. You have already done it. Fundraising fuck up.
Reply to all as well, but it ended up actually being good. I sent an advisor of us. We got the term sheet very early, and I sent to him. I said, "This is a joke. This guy, takes me for an idiot. I would never do it. You can tell him to fuck off." And he knew the guy. Now I expected him to do it in a more gentle way. I didn't reply to all. My advisor replies to me and to the other guy, saying, "No worries, I'll speak with him about it."
Oh, so you could see the reply in the previous email.
Yes.
In the nested email.
And then the next email I got is a term sheet, a double devaluation from the same guy.
Wow. Okay.
Or maybe it wasn't a fuck up after all.
It wasn't a fuck up. Team or leadership fuck up that you have experienced as a CEO.
Team, you should have prepared me for this, man. Like these are like I
I
want to
know.
be thoughtful, and you said fast. Team or leadership fuck up.
Yeah, something that you could have managed better, like a conflict, or maybe managing the team during the pandemic, because we spoke about that when the last interview, but maybe there's something specific that you're, as a leader, you could have done better.
Yeah, so many things. I mean, it will take hours. It's either hours or nothing. But let me come up with something quick. I think whenever I try to, so sometimes I make the mistake of reading in a book or seeing a lecture or listening too much to common advice on how I should behave with the team. And I realize that, for example, if I try, I'm not saying it will not work for others, but if I try to not be authentic, because I'm authentic, right? And if I try to kind of be a bit more, CEO-like, I always fuck up. So I know it's very generic, and it sounds like a bit of a self-help advice, but be yourself. I know it's, anyway. But yes, be yourself. I mean, be authentic. And if your authentic self is to be a bit of a joker like I am, I don't know any other way. And whenever I try to not be like myself, it always ends up being like awkward and unnatural. So be yourself.
Any advice of communicating fuck-ups to the team, like owning up to what you have failed at and say like, I did this, it's my fault, sorry, I fucked up, but you have to fix it.
Yeah.
Any advice? It's for me. I'm asking because I need that.
Yeah. We have a culture of ownership at Trauerberg, which means that I own very little, which means I fuck up very little. So that's a little trick. No, but we try to be really humble at the company, and I think a key element in humbleness is acknowledging when you fuck up. So it's very natural in our culture for me or for anybody else to say, listen, that's my fuck up. Now, can we talk about the solution? Sometimes the solution is not mine to perform. But I think if you haven't started like this from day one in the culture, it's very difficult to do. So maybe that's kind of the key component for that is have a culture where you can stand up and everybody can stand up and admit in a group that they fucked up. We don't do blaming in group, right? So that's also very important, I think. We don't blame in group. If somebody fucked up, I will tell them that, and it's my job to tell them. They will hear it, but in like one-on-one. So we praise in a group. We don't blame in a group, but we definitely acknowledge fuck-ups in a group. And if the culture is of ownership and being humble, then nobody feels like politically they might lose something out of it. So I think good culture is the key for that.
The last one, because Carlos is going to kill me. It's really fast. You are really transparent on social media and very active on Twitter. That's why I like you. Any social media fuck up you want to share?
You can see in my deleted tweets. No, like.
No.
Can you see them? No, you cannot see them.
I don't know, but
no. I'm actually not on social media. So the only one I'm on is LinkedIn, I guess, is social media, and I don't have my Twitter password. So
it's not you tweeting anymore.
So I do tweet, but I don't have my password.
Oh, okay.
So whenever you see me tweet, it's me. But then I give my password away to somebody in the company, and I ask them to change it because I don't want to fuck up on Twitter. If I share my real opinions on Twitter, I will be canceled in a second. So yeah, I only share like 5% of my real opinions.
That's really good. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Avi. Big applause. Thank you very much. All right. Let's give it up also for Carlos, because he comes again on stage. Give it up for Carlos again.
Okay. Hola, hola, hola. Is it working? Yeah, now can you hear me? I think so. So let's go with our next speaker, who is Laura Fernández. She holds a degree in media studies and also a postgraduate degree in product marketing. And she's an expert in tech and innovation learning as well as in community building. She's a former CEO or COO of Makers of Barcelona and currently is the CEO and founder of All Women Tech, data camp offering data science, product management, UX, UI design for women by women. Other than that, she devotes part of her time to mentor young entrepreneurs and curate tech content for brands. And sometimes when she's a little bit stressed, she wanna have fun, she becomes a mean queen and makes everyone dance as a DJ. Please greet her with a huge rockstar DJ applause, Laura Fernández.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi. Hi. No. Yeah. Yeah. More or less. Can you hear me now? Yes. Yeah. Thank you for that applause. And thanks for that, Ben. I felt it's very like therapeutical, let's say, like hearing all your fuck ups. Thank you. So I'm gonna share a few of mine. A ver, opa. Yeah, that's me. Yes, I was saying, I'm like, so normally we share, the ups, but today I'm gonna share the downs, and I'm pretty excited, and it feels like relaxing to do it. So 8 years ago, I came back to Barcelona, and I joined Makers of Barcelona, and at that time, I didn't know. So Makers of Barcelona, I think it was the first, co-working space and collaborative community, I would say, in Spain, or one of the first ones. And at that time, I didn't know about, co-working, entrepreneurs, startups, or anything like that. But something, like the energy there, pushed me to be part of that, right? So I don't even knew the word entrepreneur, and for me, company was made, by guys like this, right? So white, middle-aged, straight guy, right? But actually, in Makers of Barcelona, that stereotype, it didn't apply. So we had, people from all over the world trying to solve different challenges from different perspectives in a creative way, and out of a laptop, right? Like super, sort of easy. So being surrounded by that people, I decided to, start my own company that it was Future Funded. So I created Future Funded with my former boss at Makers of Barcelona, and myself as a managing director. But it was only me to manage at that time. But as a first-time entrepreneur, it was a lot of work, I can tell you, okay? And so, yeah, we were ready. We were like, okay, we are, build that, my first company, let's say. And the mission behind Future Funded was to build and shape the next generation of, women in technology through a crowdfunding platform where women will be able to, fundraise money to acquire new tech skills. It was bold, it was clear, and I was ready. So, but as a first-time entrepreneur, things are not certain sometimes. So we had to decide, how are we gonna call our company? And the first thing it came up, it was broccoli. So before calling ourselves Future Funded, for a while we thought broccoli was a great name to have, Thanks God we dismissed that, and then we came up with, Future Funded. But Future Funded, it wasn't easy, not even easy for me to say right now. And people was confused all the time, like it is Future Funding, it's Future Founder, it's Future Funded, it's Future Funded in Spanish, complicated to say it, to remember, and mostly to write it well in Google when you need to find, again, the name of that company that you are interested in. So first lesson learned, choose well your name that is easy to remember, easy to type and write well. That was my first learning. What else? Yes, sorry, yeah. My second learning is that we decided to build a crowdfunding platform, and we wanted to launch in a very short period of time, so 1 month. So we were working super hard, and I remember the previous night of the launching. I was awake, and I was working with the developer together, and I'm messing this around, sorry. This is my second in-person event after the pandemic, so I'm kind of rusty. And so we launched the crowdfunding platform. As Ivan was saying, nothing happened. It was the void. Okay, you don't see that, but this is black. Vale? This is black, and it's made in purpose. So a month, went away, and we didn't have any submission or application to launch, an amazing crowdfunding campaign to raise, money for your studies. And so I said, what we can do, And then I remember, because I was thinking like, marketing is for companies that, that they want to sell you things that you don't want. If you have a company with a mission, you don't need to do marketing because, you are trying to do good. So people will come to you, But no, this didn't happen to me. So I sort of like find someone that knew about marketing and could help me to, build sort of like a marketing strategy and attract users to us. And actually what I learned and what I discovered at the same time that you need to do, marketing and, communication campaign and a strategy is that you can do, marketing in very different ways. And you can do, marketing by bringing, value to your users and to your clients. So there is, a very good and nice way to do marketing that makes sense and that is aligned with your, values and the values of your brand and the things you want to accomplish through your company. So yes, we created a strategy, we launched a strategy, and with very limited resources, but it worked. And we've got our first user, and I was feeling like this. Okay, so we had our first user. We built the crowdfunding campaign with her. We made the video with her. We talked to different, donors that will put money on the campaign. Everything is ready. And the day before the launch of this first campaign, I said, let me test all the workflow if it works. The day before, right? Now you're saying, yeah, the day before, crazy woman, yes. But I tested the day before, and what happened? Didn't work, of course. And then, I was like, super frustrated, super worried. I was like, I want to die. Well, I don't know if die because it's a hard word, but I was like crying like mad, And I asked people around me that, could help me, and they said like, okay, we can fix that, but it's not gonna happen today. So, we had to postpone it. So lesson learned, always test. And the bigger is the thing you are gonna launch, the sooner you will start testing, right? And today, we test everything, even newsletter that we send every weekend is always the same newsletter. We always test it. Like you need to test everything beforehand, and the bigger is the launch, the sooner you will test. Yes. So, I'm sorry. So. Yeah, that was like what I wanted to say with the FuckUp when it didn't work, right? Okay, this is like another learning. So that was my heart, broken when we, after testing, the product and finally having, the product out and everything, we realized the business model, it wasn't, like the right one. And even though, the idea, I was like, super in love with the project and the approach and what we are trying to build there, our business model, it didn't work. So I'm gonna explain you why it didn't work. So we had the receivers of the money. That was, the girl like fundraising, and then the tech school that will give, the skills to the girl. And then we have the givers of the money. That it was like, companies or individuals that want to be part of the education of this girl, and in exchange get the time of the girl in terms of, services or working. So a company would invest, 3,000 euros, and then the girl will work for the company for 2 months, like ideally. I mean, I love it because like it was like from a social perspective, it was like involving like a lot of the stakeholders within the society for, for a big impact and for a good thing, right? But when you put this, like this system of working like money and work and everything in the financial and labor Spanish system, it doesn't work. And you say, wow. And then all of your stakeholders start to, asking so many questions and having so many concerns about how your product works that it stops to be, fluid and fluent and efficient, and then, you realize it doesn't work. So even though I, talked to different lawyers, they were selling me like different things. I spent money on, money that I didn't have, but that I found somewhere, and to have, a solution, because I was like super like, I want this to work, I want this to work, I want this to work. And in the end, I found a solution to make that work like legally, let's say. but it wasn't efficient anymore as a business model. So yeah, so my learning here is like before even you create your business email account, make sure your business model works in an efficient way and in a legal way within the state we're going to operate, as well as your users and stakeholders. Super important. Everything seems very obvious now, but it wasn't obvious at that time. So I hope I'm saving you some time and money and stress. And money, let's continue talking about money. So yeah, so you start you're going to become an entrepreneur, and you do this like typical like kit, like, okay, let's do the business model canvas, and everyone talks to you about like, cash flow, how important is cash flow, and you need to have your cash flow. Do a spreadsheet, and you look in YouTube like how to create your cash flow with a spreadsheet, right? So you do this, and everything, you put it there in an Excel sheet, right? And everything looks like very professional. You put like high objectives, amazing. You're gonna have like an amazing company within 6 months. No, this is not realistic. But the problem is like you put everything in an Excel sheet, it looks nice, it looks perfect, but it's not realistic, right? So yeah, I did that. I put like everything on a spreadsheet in the way I wanted, to work. And then after 6 months, I spent, like 40, 50,000 euros, and I just made 2,000 euros, so it didn't work, obviously. And this is a lesson that I learned. Like, you need to be, cash flow is very important, of course. You want to check this daily, but you need to be, ambitious, but also realistic when creating your objectives, as well as for your team members. And also, it's very important, and this is something that I also learned. Now it seems also like very obvious to me, right? But at the beginning as well, I was like super in love with the purpose of the project and what I was trying to build there, that I didn't care that much about money, and then actually you really need money to be able to build your project and continue having this impact and that mission. So money, yes, is important. Your like cash flow is very important, but be realistic when you are creating it. And yes, so there is like a happy ending. So we ran Future Funded for a whole year. In this whole year, we launched, I think we launched like 6 crowdfunding campaigns. 3 were successful. So, the business, it wasn't working because you cannot, make a business out of like 6 crowdfunding campaigns in a whole year. But I learned like all those things that I told you and many more. And I also learned that you need to build, a product and a solution that makes sense for your user by talking to your user, not deciding what it makes sense to you. So Future Funded then become all women, which is a tech academy, for women. And we are proud to say that today we train like more than 400 women in technology, and we're a super big community of more than 40,000 women around the globe. But all of that, and we made that in a short period of time, and being profitable since day one. But all of this was like possible because I made all those fuck-ups and all those mistakes beforehand. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible to be where we are today. So this is part of the journey to make backups, and you should embrace them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much to 3 amazing speakers we had. So we're running like super late. So probably Carlos and I fucked up. We gave too much content in this event. We didn't control the timing very much. So we will skip the Q&A, right? Really sorry about that, but you probably want beer. I see some really thirsty places. We are in Estrella Damm. If we're not going to drink beer, why the fuck are we here, right? So there's food, there's beer upstairs, and I don't know, some like parting words, but we really wanted to to say thank you to everybody for being here because it's been super special for us. And
also
Carlos?
the speakers will be
Yeah,
upstairs.
the speakers will be upstairs.
So like you can follow up with some questions with them
Yeah.
up there. And yeah, as Alex was saying, like thank you all for joining us, for coming here again, meeting us in person. And now let's get to know each other and grab a beer.
Some instructions
upstairs.
for how it's
Yes.
instructions. You want to give them instructions to go upstairs?
Yeah, now the networking is going to take place up at the terrace, at a beautiful terrace of this wonderful venue. You just go up through the stairs and walk up the stairs. It's just like 1.5 floor, and we'll meet you up there. Please
You
don't
see,
wait
you're
over-
eager to go to drink beer. You see everybody standing up. You don't really wait for the end. Some people. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.